coming in for you on a Tuesday edition. It is Orange and Blue today. Cecil, Lammey, Andrew Mason talking about these Denver Broncos. Mace at the Super Bowl. Busy today with a lot of NBC type today.
The annual tradition here at Super Bowl week that the network that's broadcasting the game lets their personalities be available, and it's usually one of those things that's very productive because it gives you a chance to just go up and ask them about your team. And so it's a chance to go to, say, Chris Sims, Mike Florio of NBC and Pro Football Talk, Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, etc. Ask them about the Broncos, and Tony Dungy as well. And we're going to dive into that over the course of the rest of the week. Tony Dungy had some very interesting things to say about Vance Joseph in particular, of course. Tony Dungy being a longtime defensive coach like Vance Joseph, who had to wait a while for his head coaching shot. But it was Chris Sims who had the most interesting and I'd say kind of off the chain thing to say this afternoon. First things first, kind of to set it up here. I started off asking him about Bo Nix and the Broncos, and because I buttered him up, and we'll get into that on a future show, because the thing about Chris Sims and Bo Nix was, and we talked about this leading into the draft 2 years ago, he had one of the higher rankings of Bo Nix. He had Bo Nix as his QB3, which was well above most people. And as I told our friend Luca Evans of the Denver Post before I went into that, we were talking about what we got out of the day, and I said, hey, you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. And I was buttering up Chris a little bit by mentioning that, hey, you had Bo a little bit higher than most people. Well, as Chris went on, he started talking about fourth downs and his disdain for the current fourth down modus operandi that we're seeing, the current fourth down paradigm of more coaches being in go-for-it mode. And he mentioned how displeased he was that Sean Payton chose to go for it on fourth down in the second quarter of the AFC Championship game, the call that is going to linger. Sean Payton, of course, has talked about how he's stewing more over the play call than the decision, but you can argue the decision to go for it was wrong, and certainly if you go by WPA, win probability added, it was 66% to kick and 64% to go for it. So even WPA would have told you slight advantage to kick rather than go for it, and that's before considering the weather and whatnot.
Right.
And in the course of talking about fourth downs and the Broncos, Chris mentioned the fact that Stiddy was at quarterback. And so I followed up with Chris by asking, okay, would your decision have been different if it had been Bo Nix rather than Stiddy, in light of his high esteem for Bo Nix? And
Good one.
well,
Good one, Mason.
I'm not too bad at the follow-ups. And this was like, remember the thing, the little spinny thing when you were a kid where you'd pull the chain, or pull the string and it would spin around and just start talking. Yep. Well, that was basically like pulling the string on Chris Sims here. So I asked him that about whether the fourth down decision, his feeling would have been different if Bo Nix had been the quarterback, and Here we go.
I you know what? I don't, actually. I would have played, let's keep applying the pressure no matter what, even if Bo Nix is there. Here's the thing I didn't love about it. One, the play was basic. Everybody has that play in the first week of training camp. I was like, man, this is Sean Payton's AFC Championship. Go for it. I got to make it happen play. I was shocked by that. Vrabel played a defense that most people don't play in that situation. He played Tampa 2 on 4th and 1. Right? So Vrabel's coaching is special. That play right there, them telling the Drake May to keep the ball around the edge, and then the late, slow substitution on the Stidham interception, that was coach and situational football, and that's why Vrabel is Belichickian and Parcells that way, to give him that advantage. But yeah, no, even if Bo Nix was there, and you can ask my NBC friends all here, I am the one that's always in there, kick the field goal. Okay, sorry for that, but that's Chris Sims for you. All right, good.
Oh my God, off the top rope. Wow.
When I heard him say that, and I'm like, hey, don't worry, we can edit. It's all good. I've got the bleep stored on this computer here. And I've gotten used to using that because of friend of the program, JFM, John Franklin Myers.
Yes.
I've had to use it frequently with him. When he said that, I thought to myself, how many people in Broncos country were uttering those exact words at that time when CBS came back from break and they saw the Broncos not in field goal formation there, and instead opting to go for it? They were thinking, kick the bleeping field goal.
Oh, yeah. And then to say Vrabel was like, I mean, Sean Payton makes an issue with what Kristen said, but to say that Vrabel is Parcells like and he's the Parcells guy.
That hurt. I thought about that as well because, of course, Vrabel played for Belichick, and Belichick is a Parcells protege too, having coached under Bill in New York with the Giants and with the Patriots and with the Jets, of course. But Mike Vrabel is once removed from Bill Parcells, right? Like if you're doing the 6 degrees of separation, there's a degree of separation for Mike Vrabel in terms of going back to Big Bill. There's no separation for Sean Payton to Bill Parcells, and that I have to say, if Sean Payton hears that comment, and my guess is he'll hear that quote because I put it on social media, and Sean seems to find things on social media when his name is there. He seems to catch wind of it, so I'm guessing he's going to become aware of Chris Sims's diatribe, comment, whatever you want to call it, one way or the other. He's going to hear that.
Yes, probably fire off a text to Chris.
There may fire off. It may not be to Chris. It may be to Phil. It may be to his dad. I don't think. Well, no. The thing is, I don't know if Sean Payton has Chris Sims's text or number or vice versa. I think Sean Payton has Phil's number.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And vice versa. So my guess is if there's a text or a call that comes in, it's going to his dad.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And by the way, I'm seeing the comments about how, because I mentioned, of course, like there it's those exact words. Yep, and that's, like I said, it's what went through my mind when I heard Chris, and it was hard for me not to laugh in that moment, because the moment he said that, I'm picturing thousands upon thousands of Broncos fans uttering those words at their television, sitting in the stands at Empower Field, saying that, kick the bleeping field goal. Like,
yeah, everybody said that.
Yeah, and it's actually been interesting to have conversations with people here, because there are some people that I bump into here that I only see here or see at the combine or at the league meeting. And honestly, what I've heard over and over again is, why didn't he kick? And I just kind of I want to hear what people have to say, because you and I have disseminated this within an inch of its life, and I've thought about this over and over and over the last 9 days.
Right.
I'm more interested in what other people think of this at this point. And everyone says the same things. They say the backup quarterback was in. The weather, everybody mentions the weather, knowing that the snow was rolling in. And the thing I will always follow with to illuminate it is that in the press box before the game, the PA announcer for the press box announces at least 1 inch of snow expected to fall in the second half. So
everybody knows.
Everybody knew what was coming. There was going to be measurable accumulation of snow in the second half of the game. You didn't have to be Jim Cantori or Chris Bianchi to know that. Got to give my friend Chris a shout out from Channel 9.
Always.
Yeah. And and that it was something that that Chris Sims mentioned in another one of his responses when he was talking about fourth downs in general, was that you have to look at the situation that kind of befalls you at every given point. I mean, it's there's going to come a point. We're going to turn the page on this in due time. I'm just not sure. Again, based on how many people bring it up to me here, I don't think everybody's turned the page on this just yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. This is not the 24-hour rule on this one.
Not at all.
It's still hurting. The Broncos, the players that are here for the Pro Bowl, I mean, maybe they're not thinking about the call, but they're hurting. I mean, they're looking around at the ban, like I did this social media video on Sunday, but they're looking around at the banners. Like, there's a huge banner over there, and it's got a couple of Seahawks players, but then it's got also Drake May. So I mean, and it's like you can't get away from it. If you're a Bronco showing up for this, you've got all these reminders in your face of what could have been. I mean, like I've said, yesterday, I said it to a couple other people today. I feel I should have been here with a lot of my teammates, like you and others, and I'm not, and it sucks. It sucks. Like, there's no other way to put it.
Yeah, it's an unusual feeling, because you feel like this was Bo Nix's Super Bowl. Like, they were right on track for them at least to be there, Mace, and then who knows what they would do against Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't have any great illusions that if with what was left without Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham having to start the Super Bowl, I don't have any great illusions that they would have won the game. I think based on what we saw in the AFC Championship game, Broncos versus Seahawks with Stiddy starting, I'd say they probably would have had about a 1 in 10 chance of winning the game. It would have been an extremely narrow path to victory for the Broncos. I said 1 in 3 chance to win the AFC Championship game. 1 in 3 was sort of based on the unknown, the hope that in the 2 years since his previous starts on the practice field, that the experience that he'd gained in Sean Payton's scheme and the experience in general that he'd grown from that. And it's the experience that any player gets. We'll get into later this week, part part of a conversation I had with Drew Lock on Monday night about what you can get from experience. It was really cool to catch up with Drew, by the way, and just kind of how much and see how he's grown as a person since he was here in Denver as well. But we saw in the AFC Championship game that unfortunately for Stiddy, a lot of the same issues that were present in his first 4 starts, especially after that first one against San Francisco, which is still, that's the thing, his best play remains in that first start for the Raiders against the 49ers when there was no film on him, and ever since then, the returns haven't been great. Because after that first start, there's a book. There are a lot of quarterbacks that can go out there and have a good first start because there's no book on you.
Right.
Once that, or even a good game. Paxton Lynch played pretty well for a little over a half against Tampa Bay as a rookie. There was no book on him. Atlanta studied that film. It went a lot differently 7 days later.
That's how this league works. They get film on you and stuff changes in the way they prepare for you.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's life. They write a book.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, let's play a commercial from our sponsor, Mace, and then I want to get some more thoughts from you from Super Bowl 60. Here's a word from Ramos Law.
Today's episode of Orange and Blue Today is presented by Ramos Law, the official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos. Ramos Law was founded by Dr. Joseph Ramos, an attorney and ER doctor, to provide exceptional care to those injured in accidents. With a unique understanding of both medicine and law, the Ramos Law team is built to fight for you every step of the way. Experience the Ramos Law difference. Contact them today at ramoslaw.com.
Just realized I forgot to wear my bling here.
Okay.
I should have been wearing it for the week. Why not, right?
You like the glamour shots pose all day long when you do this show, just like this. Mm-hmm. It's class picture day, Mace.
You gotta show it off, right? If you got it, flaunt it. That's there ain't no cubic zirconia in this thing, man. That's real.
That's the real deal right there from Super Bowl 50. Was it in the same spot, Mace, in 50? Because I wasn't there because we shut down ESPN Denver. Was it in the same spot in terms of like where you're at right now?
Well, here's the thing. I was working for the team then. I actually didn't come up to the media center that year. I assume it is. It's at the Moscone Center. I don't know. I don't know if it's in the same room or the same convention hall, or if it's in a different part of the Moscone Center, but it's in the same complex as it was then.
Okay.
But the way it's a reasonable setup here. I'm a few blocks away. I've got about a 14-minute walk through downtown San Francisco, and so just stroll over here for work. The only real problem is that the teams are in San Jose, Santa Clara. So last night, to go to opening night / media night, we were, and where I did the live show with you, we were on a bus for about 90 minutes. This isn't the most convenient place to have a Super Bowl compared to New Orleans, where everything is pretty compact. The teams are staying downtown. The media center is downtown. By the way, the convention center in New Orleans literally is 1 mile long. It's pretty wild. Yeah. This is not one of the more efficient places to have a Super Bowl. But part of it is they want to involve the entire San Francisco Bay Area. In fact, that's how they promote this. It's the San Francisco Bay Area hosting the Super Bowl. Thus, the game is in Santa Clara, close to San Jose, and then all this stuff, including the NFL experience, is up in San Francisco. Unfortunately, poor Oakland and the East Bay gets kind of left out of things. Poor Oakland doesn't even have any major professional sports anymore. They have a USL soccer team, the Oakland Roots, co-owned by Marshawn Lynch, playing over at the Coliseum, but that's it. It's really sad what's happened to Oakland in the last few years, going from having the Warriors and the A's and the Raiders to nothing in pro sports, really, in major pro sports. It's pretty sad. So
yeah, pretty sad there. Super Bowl thoughts in terms of just a healthy amount of respect, and we'll get more into the specifics of who you talk to. But when you talk to people, I'm sure it's just a healthy amount of respect for what Bo Nix was able to accomplish this year.
That's pretty evident. A healthy amount of respect. You keep hearing also something very similar to what Garrett Bowles shared last Monday. Playmakers in terms of what the Broncos need, a little more juice. Heard, Mike Florio mentioned today, Mike Florio Pro Football Talk mentioning running back specifically, but you keep the buzz you keep hearing is the Broncos adding more on the offensive side. There's definitely a lot of optimism though. Like it's not like the Broncos are held in bad esteem, and I'll actually say this, and I'll actually tip the cap to Florio for giving me a different perspective on looking ahead to this coming season.
Okay.
So, and we'll dive more into this on a forthcoming show, but I want to run this by you right now because I've been thinking about this for about the last 90 minutes or so. So he pointed out that you have other contenders in the AFC that are dealing with major changes. Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen, they've got a new head coach coming in. Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, new coach coming in with Jesse Minter. Kansas City, they've got Eric Bieniemy coming back as offensive coordinator, but they're dealing with the significance of Patrick Mahomes coming off the ACL, so they're going to have to alter some things this offseason as he goes through his rehab.
Right.
So you have those other three teams that are dealing with something significantly different. So three of the four teams with those really proven perennial quarterbacks in the AFC, other than the Bengals with Joe Burrow, have something significant that's different this offseason. And the Broncos and Patriots are going to be relatively constant. And so in Mike Florio's eyes, he felt that set up the Broncos and Patriots to be favorites already going into the 2026 season, which is interesting because if you look at how some others out there already have it, I think not to get too much into the betting lines, but the Broncos Super Bowl odds next year were 12th. So there are some circles that don't have the Broncos' chances in high esteem, yet there's a logical reason to consider that perhaps they should be thought of for 2026 better than maybe some are going to give them credit for. And it made me think to maybe take a little bit of a different outlook on where the Broncos stand, because even though they are losing Jim Leonard from their staff, like we talked about yesterday and you mentioned, they're keeping Davis Webb, and he may be involved in play calling, but no matter what, Davis is staying on the staff. And they're keeping Vance Joseph, and that's something that the defensive players are very excited about is keeping VJ around. And that's going to count for a whole lot going into 2026 if they were able to keep those two coaches. You weren't going to keep everybody, but you did manage to keep two big ones around that perhaps you weren't expecting, and certainly buys you time to find until you find the guys who might have to fill in for them, because if you do have a successful 2026, maybe you are saying goodbye to them in 2027. That's a good problem to have.
All right, Mace, we're going to let you get back to it out there in Santa Clara as we wrap up today's Orange Blue Today. But before we're out of here, we need some help growing our YouTube channel. So how can folks do just that and make sure to show that bling, baby?
Like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell.
So that you
never miss vid.
That's right.
Yeah, and we really need. I mean, I'm getting back like a couple of years ago, but when the target that we got for YouTube this year, we really need the help.
We got big goals, everybody. Big goals.
We got a spicy meatball there in terms of the number we got to hit. Woo!
Yes, we do. So Orange and Blue Today, we're looking at you because you guys are the best, and we need your help. So we thank you very much.
Tell a friend.
Please tell multiple friends. Post it everywhere. Share this show everywhere, and we need your help, and we greatly appreciate you very much. He is Andrew Mason. You follow him on all the socials, at Mace Denver. I'm at Cecil Lammey saying OBT's the BFD. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and would you please stay frosty.